Okay, today is 10/08/2019. Picking up the GoldWing, and she's been fully serviced, fully maintenance. I got a list of things that's been done to her, and so she should be in tip-top shape. And I don't have any keys in there. Check one more thing. Yep, the GMC and our hitch is working good. And I put this red tie down here to make sure that doesn't come loose on that pin, the green tie. That's our 4-prong adapter. And I got it on a 2-inch ball for this trailer. So, this should do her. Okay, we got the GMC. It's running good. Picked up a motorcycle at the shop. Motorcycle's looking good, running good. They serviced it every which way you can, even replaced the drive shaft in it. It was making a whopping sound. We'll talk about that. Okay guys, Gary J here. We took the GoldWing to the shop for 2 reasons. After my last trip, this is 30th anniversary. I love this. And anyway, I've got the volume all the way down. But anyway, took the GoldWing to the shop, and we see the mileage is 73,420. 73,420 miles, which is not bad on a GoldWing. I mean, you can get 300,000 miles out of the engine on your GoldWing if you take care of it. Nice engine. But took it to the shop for 2 reasons. One was that the motorcycle was making an odd sound. I call it a whopping sound. You may have a different view of what a whopping sound is, but you start off like early in the morning and you hear this whopping sound like whop 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 whop. Sound like it's coming from a tire that's got a flat spot in it, or a tire that's got a bad bearing in it, or something like that. And so I'm thinking like whop 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 whop. It speeds up a little bit, and it got kind of worse on my trip. Not enough for me to stop my trip, of course, but so that was one thing that I had to deal with. And so I'm thinking like, well, gonna have to get that checked out for sure. I filtered the tires, the front tire and the back tire. I didn't feel any flat spots on that. And so it was running like 2 weeks before I rode it. Did not hear a single sound like that. But when I went on my trip, starting out, it's making that noise. It was like a whop, 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 like you get a rock in your tire, and every time it turns over, kind of when you're going slow, you can hear that rock tapping, you know. So I knew it wasn't the engine. It had to be something with the tires or something other like that. And so anyway, I took it to the shop when I got back. It's Street and Trail, which is usually Honda, and they usually do pretty good work there. Last time I took it there a couple of years ago, I had the air filter replaced. These air filters are expensive in labor to get them out and replace them. It was like $200 and something, because you got to pull this whole front end off right here to get to the air filter. That was not one of Honda's better ideas. And had new tires put on it at that time too, the Dunlop 4s, and they fixed the recall on these motorcycles. This is This one had the recall on the brakes, where they had to replace a brake cylinder or something and flush out the whole brake line system and all that. So, taking it to the shop this time, I told them, I want the bike number one, service. That's where they go in and they check everything on your bike, and I'll show you a list of things they do on the service. And I said, the other thing is this whopping sound. Got to find out what that whopping sound is, whether it's a bearing or something wrong with the tire or whatever it is. Because I went down, I made a few videos like Cherahela Skyway and Teller the Dragon and a few other places up in North Carolina and Tennessee. So anyway, the bike did real well. It's just that noise was, you worry about that. So they didn't really check the whopping sound. That was one of the big reasons I took it. But first of all, let me show you the list here of what they went over. And it's good to have this kind of maintenance done on your bike ever so many thousand miles. Have some kind of maintenance done like this on your motorcycle. That way you keep it up. Okay, here's the basic service. And it's good to have these things done if you don't do them yourself. And these are all important things. The steering check. Sometimes the bearings and stuff like that in your steering will have a problem. Brake hoses connections, brake fluid level, brake lining, pad wear. You want to make sure you got plenty of pad there, especially if you're traveling. Brake adjustments, none needed. I said brake light check, brake light switches, working good. Tire wear, cracks. Tires are good because they're like new. They were only 2 years old. Tire pressure, fork seal leaks, no problem. Rear shock leaks, no problem. Swing arm pivot lube, no problem. Clutch fluid level checked, it's good. Clutch adjustment, not needed. Final gear case oil drain and refill, check. That's a good thing to have, your gear case oil drain and refill. Drive shaft joint lubricated. That was not necessary, which we'll get into that. Chain adjust lubricant, not these don't have chains. Belt drive check adjustment. Spark plug got replaced, not applicable. Idle speed checked. Air cleaner clean replaced. They changed the air filter 2 years ago. Again, you're looking at about $230 to change the air cleaner on these things, so I'm glad they did not mess with that. In engine oil drain and refill, I had Ames oil put back in here. Last time they put regular oil, mainly because I didn't tell them to put Ames, I suppose. Engine oil filter was replaced. Fuel hoses checked. Connection leaks, all that was checked. Throttle control system checked. They tighten that throttle, lines up anything that needs to be done. Coolant level was checked. I did have them flush the coolant on this one, and that's pretty expensive to have them flush the coolant and check for any leaks and things of that nature. Radiator hoses connections, okay. Headlight, high and low beam, okay. Tail light check. Turn signals checked, okay. Wheel spoke damage, none. Nuts, bolt, fasteners checked. These motorcycles, all motorcycles vibrate. When they vibrate, they can loosen some of the bolts and stuff. They check various things. General lubrication points, anything that you can lubricate on this bike was done. Road test. They really don't do much of a road test on these motorcycles. They drive around the parking lot most of the time. And so that's a lot of things right there. And some of this gets kind of expensive here. Well, it's not so bad. Now we look at this other page here, basic service, Ames, oil, flush and coolant. Right there, let's see. Give you some idea what you're looking at. You kind of have to freeze that right there. But the oil is like $13.99 a quart. Is that right? And they drain the coolant and they flush it and they pressurize it and all this kind of stuff that they do. That was like $170 on the coolant stuff right there, and the oil filter, washer and sinks, shop supplies, $11. Let's see, flush coolant. Got $290 so far right there. And removal of brake pedal and adjusted spline so pedal was level and easier to engage. $20. That is pretty simple to do. It's still, the brake it doesn't feel spongy. Well, maybe a little spongy. I wanted them to drain probably the brake fluid and pump it up a little bit higher. I'm gonna have to do that myself in this case. Test ride, here's noise in tires while riding. I told him several times about that. Anyway, they got a part, what it turned out to be, according to them, was the drive shaft making a whopping sound. I told him, you sure drive shaft? Because usually don't have a problem with drive shafts on these bikes. Not at 70,000 miles, but $340. I bought a second-hand drive shaft. The original drive shaft was about... One thing they got a part, what it turned out to be, according to them, was the drive shaft making a whopping sound. I told him, you sure drive shaft? Because usually don't have a problem with drive shafts on these bikes. Not at 70,000 miles, but $340. I bought a second-hand drive shaft. The original drive shaft was about $550. This drive shaft had 29,000 miles on it. It was in a GoldWing, of course. The guy was converting it to a trike, so that's why he sold the drive shaft. And so it ended up being about $570, I think, for the drive shaft and labor to put that thing in, somewhere around there. And the 12 volt, it's a 12 volt AC adapter. Somehow or another they unhooked that thing when they changed out the air filter. And here they charged me, I told them I wanted that fixed, but anyway, they charged me like $59.50 to fix whatever they unplugged there. I'm going to ask them about that one. And fixed wires providing power to outlet. $4.17. So in the end, with a new drive shaft and all of that, not a new drive shaft, but a second-hand drive shaft, labor and all that, was $1,097. $1,097. And so that's why it's so expensive. It would have been like $550 if I had not needed the drive shaft. And I suppose that's what it is. I just took it for a ride the first time after getting it out of the shop yesterday, and took it for a ride, and I hear a little noise at about 65 to 75 miles per hour, but on a scale of 1 to 10, the noise was about, especially in the morning time in the city, where it's real quiet in the morning, like going to get breakfast when I was in the mountains. The sound was really pronounced. It was like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the loudest noise. It was about a 7. You could hear it really clank, 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 whatever it's doing, wop, wop, wop. So it was really prominent. Now I don't hear that sound at all with the new drive shaft. But when you get up about 65, 75, I do hear a sound there that's kind of a whopping sound, but it's not like, I think it's maybe just the tires or something like that. I'm not sure 100%. But we're going to see, I guess, put some more miles on it. But I don't hear that sound. And I went on a back country highway that's real quiet and real smooth, the highway was, just so I could hear if it was making that sound again. So, you know, when you got toys like this, it's just one of those things that you're going to have to put money in them at some point in time. So, I think I've read somewhere the maintenance on the GoldWing is probably about $350 a year, something like that. And that's if you're really keeping up with everything, you know. So, I don't have that much money tied up in the maintenance over the last few years, really. I don't think so. But she should be ready for our next trip. Everything's been done that can be done, I think, right now. You know, as far as servicing the whole bike itself and changing out differential fluid or checking all of that and flushing out the radiator, and got new tires, and the brakes are good, and clutch cables and throttle cables and all the other cables have been adjusted and checked and everything. So we've got about everything done that I guess we can do to it right now. But I'm going to leave you a video where you can hear this whopping sound that I heard on this motorcycle. It's like whop, 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 whop. It's just weird. I use the word whop because I don't have another word that I can explain it with. So you can kind of hear it on the video that I'll leave you, kind of at low speed, and maybe you can hear it at the high speed. I can hear it at the high speed. Just weird. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Gary J on the GoldWing. Make sure you get your bike checked out real well like this, especially on this maintenance sheet like this, because all these things you need to check yourself. And if you want to freeze the frame and take a picture with your phone, that's what I do sometimes. I'll freeze a frame like this on YouTube, and I'll take a picture with my phone, and then that way I'll have that picture. I can go back and kind of make me a check-off list. But all these things need to be checked on your motorcycle because you don't want it to fail, and you don't want to have a wreck. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Gary J.